Olivia becomes close to Christopher while Alicia is in the attic room because he needs a mother and she needs the love that belongs to the woman she despises. She announces to the boys during Thanksgiving dinner that she is pregnant. Christopher is devastated because it means he won't be the baby anymore, and she will have someone else to dote on. Oh, don't worry, Chris. By the time the baby is born, you will be banished from the house with your real mother, and it will no longer matter. Malcolm is furious with his wife for stealing his thunder, and that is something one should never do to the great Malcolm Neil Foxworth. There is discussion about what gender the baby will be. Malcolm insists it will be a girl. Then he proceeds to accuse his younger son Joel of being a sissy for the way he's using his carving utensils. There you go, 5 or 6-year-old Mal throws in his father's face. The daughter you always wanted. So eventually Alicia's second baby is born. Olivia immediately falls in love with her new daughter. Malcolm is in love with his daughter too. He calls her Corinne as a way to remind himself that he loved his sinful mother as well, and just look how that turned out. Alicia and Chris slip away before Olivia is able to say goodbye. Malcolm celebrates the birth of his new child with the most excessively extravagant Christmas party you can imagine. 4 crystal fountains spewing champagne, a 25-foot Christmas tree decorated with ornaments and lights and surrounded by presents for Corinne. And oh yeah, doesn't she have a couple of brothers too? Maybe include some for them as well. There's also a 10-piece orchestra, and outside the guests are invited to go on a little sleigh ride. The female guests make a point to remark that Corinne looks marvelously like her handsome father. Not so much like that mother of hers, whose only noticeable characteristic is that she's tall. Olivia snaps back at her critics, making some snarky remarks of her own, and Malcolm is displeased with her. These are the wives of his business associates. Olivia feels it's sinful to waste all of this money on a newborn, but Malcolm has never really cared what his wife thought, and he's not going to have a change of heart at this point. He accuses Olivia of being jealous of the fact that this beautiful little girl sprung from Alicia's womb. Olivia has no intelligent response to that because, let's face it, it's probably true. So instead, she just accuses Malcolm of being the jealous one and rejoins the party. Her sons see all the money being thrown at their barely sentient sister, and they suspect that maybe they're not the cherished children of their father after all. Took them long enough to figure this out. Olivia tells them that that's the hand they were dealt, so suck it up. Even as she says this, she holds them close and kisses them, as though that will make it all better. The next chapter is titled Corinne, and is basically about how she's just the cat's pajamas. Olivia learns that Malcolm intends to have a nurse do all the caring for his daughter. Olivia need not get involved, and Olivia is not happy with this because she has maternal instincts, darn it all. Malcolm even gives Corinne her very own nursery because the one used previously by the boys is not special enough for his darling girl. The conniving little infant probably whispered in his ear that she wanted her own room and her own special furniture, so what can he do but comply? Olivia says that if the baby gets a new room, then Mal and Joel each get their very own rooms as well, to do with as they please. And as the final twist of the knife, she adds that these rooms will both include a grand piano. Malcolm doesn't care anymore. His sons are dead to him. She can do what she wishes. Olivia was not a fan of Corinne's nurse, Mrs. Stratton, but at least she wasn't from England. The next lady, Mrs. Worthington, is. Olivia loathes this former governess. Corinne doesn't want anything to do with her either now that she's old enough to talk back, but eventually Olivia warms to the woman. Mrs. Worthington teaches Corinne etiquette. Malcolm also thinks it's important for his youngest child to learn the piano. Olivia thinks this is contradictory of him, but I think it's actually quite consistent with his gender expectations. Furthermore, he allows Corinne to eat at the table at a younger age than he allowed the boys to, but then again, the boys weren't being looked after by Super Nanny. Olivia is frustrated with the state of her life and turns to God and to her cousin John Amos. As the boys grow, they come to worship their younger sister as much as their father does. They are jealous that she is spoiled, whereas they have to work at their father's bank in some demeaning role. But still, they wait on her hand and foot because, well, they're men. In a V.C. Andrews novel. And they probably secretly want to bone her. Well, maybe not Joel. Joel is clearly gay. The 2022 miniseries won't tiptoe around this fact and will come right out and say it. Corinne, therefore, is likely just Joel's shopping partner. Malcolm is also Corinne's shopping partner because what else is a dad going to do when his beloved daughter informs him that her clothes are now all passé? Mal is about to turn 18, and Olivia wants to talk to him about his trust fund. Mal says he and his father have discussed the possibility of his father investing it for him, but shrewd Mal informed him he would have to talk it over with his mother, and Olivia is pleased. She warns both her boys to be cynical when it comes to their sister, to stop acting like her personal servant, and to accept the reality that their father is perfectly capable of cheating them out of their trust funds and inheritance by giving all of his money to his favored daughter instead. Kind of like King Lear favoring Cordelia over the older two, but Mal and Joel are nothing like Regan and Goneril. They're actually decent people, probably because we only ever see them through their mother's eyes. Malcolm's behavior with Corinne is concerning. While eating alone together at the dinner table one night, he tries to buy her forever allegiance, telling her that if she agrees to never leave home and never make a separate life for herself, he will leave her everything and his will. She's young enough that she doesn't realize how sinister this request is. All she asks of her father is the coveted swan room, but he says that's out of the question. Olivia lets Corinne use the swan room when her father is not around. Olivia uses the peephole in the trophy room to spy on her daughter as she gets dressed and undressed and prances around, admiring her growing body. Nope, not weird at all. Corinne comes running to her mother one day, announcing that she's a woman now. She's 14 and has finally gotten her first period. Isn't that special? She dances around the garden like she's in a Disney movie. She wants her mother to reassure her that just because Olivia's love life was, that doesn't mean hers will be. Sounds like your typical mother-daughter chat. Mal arrives at the house on his new motorcycle that he bought with his hard-earned trust fund money. Olivia isn't pleased, especially when Corinne begs her to let her get on the back of the bike and go for a ride around the driveway, but she's so touched by Corinne's beauty and Mal's white scarf that she can't refuse. Malcolm is furious when he comes out and sees what's going on. He tells Olivia she's taking revenge on him by using his sons to punish him. No sooner does Olivia brush off his concerns than Corinne is rushing back to the house to inform them that somehow, in that short little ride down the driveway that seemed to last long enough for Malcolm to give his wife a never-ending tongue-lashing, Mal has managed to drop Corinne off and then proceed to ride right off the face of a cliff. It was only supposed to be a short little ride down the driveway. Where did this cliff come from? Olivia is devastated. Mal was her favorite. We're learning this for the first time. He was the only one that mattered to her. Now she's stuck putting all of her hopes and dreams into Joel. Olivia finds comfort in her cousin John Amos. She says that he's 31 now, but that can't be right. He was 18 several years before Corinne was born, and now Corinne is 14. Unless we're supposed to believe that sometime in those intervening years he was bitten by a vampire. I certainly wouldn't rule that possibility out. John is a very religious man, constantly reading the Bible and talking about God's will. Apparently it was God's will for Mal to drive off a cliff while riding down his driveway. If he couldn't have handled the motorcycle in his own driveway, one wonders how he even managed to stay on the thing in the first place. Olivia informs John that she wants him to be her butler. It will be comforting to have him there. Malcolm thinks John is a weasel. Even broken clocks are right twice a day. We'll soon find out what a weasel he really is. Olivia informs Malcolm that not only will John be their butler, but Joel will be leaving home to play in an orchestra. Then I shall disinherit him, Malcolm says, overcome by rage. And Joel says, so long, father, I will not miss you or your money. His mother sees him out and says her goodbyes. We don't even need to read the next chapter. We've read the previous books. We already know what his future holds.